What's up? So tonight we will be recapping Dexter, the 8th and final season. Because after this, I just started, at the time of this recording, I just started watching New Blood. So after this, we'll be after this, and after watching all 10 episodes of New Blood, we'll be recapping New Blood. So anyway, season 8 starts off with 6 months. It's been 6 months since Deb shot Huerta, and they basically have a bench in her honor. But Angel doesn't like that because he thinks she deserves something more than a bench. By this point, Deb has quit Huerta's death is basically, the guilt over Huerta's death has basically caused her to quit the force and leave a lieutenant job, becoming a private investigator for Jacob Elway. And Dexter's trying to call her to see if she's okay, but she's basically, ignoring him because she's basically sleeping with this guy that she was supposed to steal jewels from. But she's only pretending to date him so she can steal back the stolen jewels that he stole in an armed robbery. So Dexter decides to go. So we also meet Dr. Evelyn Vogel, who basically becomes Dexter's she's the new, Dexter has a person that understands his dark side's character, because she's the person that the whole Chloe Harry exists because of her. She and Harry were like friends or something, and he went with her to discover how to help Dexter, and basically she came up with the code. And she even has his childhood drawing. So yeah, and also Jamie and Quinn are a thing. But they're gonna go through ups and downs for most of the season, because basically Jamie is kind of a new character in this final season, and I didn't like her as much as I did for she basically ditches Dexter. She basically ditches her in the very first episode. She ditches her. Dexter's like, hey, I gotta go out. She's like, nah, I need some time off. Like, lady, you were hired to babysit his kid, and you want some time off? Like you couldn't ask this before, you randomly ask this now. So Dexter decides to go to Deb, and Deb's basically like, Dexter, you kind of ruined my life. I never want to see you again, and I should have shot you in that. She calls it a truck, but it's actually a shipping container. Do not know why they had her actress say I shot the wrong person in that truck, but when it's really a shipping container. But okay, she says truck when we all know that's a shipping container. She basically, Dexter, you basically made her through. When she shot Huerta and Dexter, she basically made Dexter give up on. She basically made him give up on everything she believed in. Wow. So wow, that is some interesting stuff. And Harrison now talks now. He's basically like, to this point, Harrison's 4 years old by this point, but a new actor, but that can speak full sentences. Yeah, who can speak full sentences. So yeah, so Dexter decides to go to Deb, and her boyfriend ends up charging at Dexter. Dexter ends up killing the boyfriend, and yeah, because now he was going to be killed by El Sapo. Now Deb and Dexter's like, don't you see, Deb? You're the one lost here. But she's like, me lost? Are you really sure? Have you seen yourself in the mirror, Lady Dexter? You're the lost one. And then she basically tells the police that she basically came in and found him dead because, Then, as I said before, Evelyn Vogel shows up and gives Dexter his drawings of challenge. She's like, Dexter, he's like, you can't kill me, Dexter. And he's like, why not? Because I don't fit Harry's code. So then in the second episode, Dexter's, oh my eyes, sometimes I hurt these videos, I don't know why, but Dexter is showing Vogel is showing Dexter the videos of, the videos of Harry telling her about the code. But we also got a new killer this season, dubbed the Brain Surgeon, because he basically takes chunks out of people's brain, killing people by taking the chunks of their brains and leaving an imprint. So yeah, that's so yeah. So Dexter's like, so Deb is like, I've had enough. I'm done with this. I'm gonna tell the police the truth about who really shot LaGuerta. But then when Dexter shows up, she's like, hey, I'm gonna expose you. But then Dexter tranquilizes her, and Vogel says the funniest line ever. She's like, that's interesting. Like, she's never seen a guy tranquilize another person before. That's so funny. So Dexter basically just and then he's like, hey Vogel, you're gonna help Deb. So she basically takes Deb to the scene of the accident. Deb's like, hey, in that moment she shot Dexter. And she's like, no, Deb, you shot LaGuerta. You shot an innocent woman in cold blood. And if you wouldn't, and in any scenario, if you shoot Dexter or LaGuerta, you still feel guilty. And she's like, and that basically makes her feel better about what's going on. So basically Dexter decides to call Deb up, where she tries to kill them both by basically driving them into the water, killing them. But then Dexter's suspecting them both to die. Some fisherman or whoever saves Deb. Well, Deb decides to go in to save Dexter, and they both tell Vogel that Dexter's basically mad at her, saying, Deb, I'm mad at you. I can't believe you did that. I'm mad. And Dexter just leaves. So let's go to Masuka's. First we have to go into Masuka's story, because after 8 seasons, Vince Masuka finally gets a story arc. And it's in the final season, where his daughter, who he randomly, like in college, he donated his sperms to a sperm bank, and basically now has a child. She basically came out. She basically decides to find her dad after her mom died, and basically tries to form a relationship with the dad she never knew. And yeah, as I said before, so yeah, and that's so Vince decides to, Vince thinks that she's, trying to scam him, so he basically tries to go to Deb, and basically Deb's tries to go to Deb, and is like, hey Deb, will you help her find out if his daughter is, scamming him? And she's like, why? And then she confronts him saying, why did you do that? And he's like, I thought I was scamming you. But he's like, no, you're not. I'm not scamming you. So then they try to form a relationship. She works at a stripper bar where a bunch of ladies show their boobs. A bunch of people show their boobs, and it's kind of funny. Also kind of weird. So Dexter basically goes to Deb and is like, hey Deb, why didn't you kill him? And she's like, because Dexter, I love you. So yeah, and there's also Zach Hamilton, who's basically Dexter's new protege. Yeah, again, the writers tried to introduce a new character to Dexter to interact with, being Zach Hamilton. But they end up finding, guess what? Dexter and Deb get drugged, and Hannah McKay shows up out of nowhere saying, hey Dexter, did you miss me? And it's just like, yeah. I was kind of missing her, because I like her actress. And yeah, and she basically, she drugs Dexter and basically takes him all the way to another town and leaves Deb in her apartment, and Dexter's like, yeah, we got a McKay problem. She's back in town. And she's like, Dexter. And he's like, hey, by her not killing us, which means that she's probably changed. And she's like, Dexter, Hannah McKay cannot change. So she basically just tried So she's like, LA. So she's like, LA, please let me hire a marshal to hunt down Hannah McKay. So he's like, sure, and that's basically another part of the season. So yeah, and there's also and then Jamie tries to give Dexter a love interest in Cassie, but Dexter doesn't want it, so she goes with Oliver Saxon. Yeah, and there's also Jamie Quinn and Jamie are having relationship issues because Quinn still loves Deb, and Jamie's kind of a jealous person whenever it comes to Deb, because she's like, he's like, hey, like, one night when Deb and Dexter were still off the edge, she called Quinn and basically was like, hey Quinn, I want your help. And he's like, okay. And basically she got arrested for DUI and was drinking, and Jamie didn't like it that she basically ran into Deb and lied to her about having a work emergency, and she's basically like, hey, Deb was in trouble and I need your help. And she's like, why you? And he's like, because I like her. Why does it care? Because you were sleeping with her, dude. And she just walks off. Like, yeah, Jamie's kind of the worst in the season. For her final season, they really wrote her really poorly. I'm gonna say it. Like, season 6 and 7, Jamie were way better than this, because at least those Jamies didn't get jealous. So yeah, so also, Angel's Lieutenant now. Angel's Lieutenant Bautista now, and basically he wants to hire Quinn to become the new sergeant. But the guy's like, hey, but Tom's like, hey, don't hire Jamie, don't hire Quinn, hire the new brown lady, the new female character named, and her, Miller, and he's like, hire her. He wants to hire her, and then Jamie gets upset. Jamie gets upset randomly, and is just like, ugh, and leaves. It's just like, wow, you're a terrible person. And then Oliver Saxon's like, hey Dexter, let's. So then after that, what happens is that Dexter finds that Hannah's alive and decides to, find out that she's married with an abusive husband. Yeah. She's basically like, Dexter, he was there for me when you weren't. Hannah, you did desert him, you didn't even give him a notice. I know he slept with other girls before, after her, but, she didn't give him a notice to say she was coming back. So Dexter said, so Dexter wants to take, Zach Hamilton on as his prodigy, but then he learns that he's actually trying to kill his dad's mistresses, and then Dexter's like, hey, come on, Dexter, new Dexter Jr., join the team, and so then they decide to kill the guy, and Dexter and Hannah kind of get back together, but then there's a whole storyline about Dexter basically explaining everything to Hannah. So then Cassie is murdered while Hannah and Dexter decides to discover what's going on about her murder, and discovers that Oliver Saxon is the dead son of Evelyn Vogel, who was thought to be dead. But then, basically he's been a psychopath all his life. He killed his son. Then they basically institutionalized him, and they basically killed 7 more people, several children, and fire to basically fake his death, and has been growing up as a killer, basically. And Vogel basically now becomes ooh, Dexter, you gotta help me antagonize my son. Like, but Dexter's like, hey, no, I'm going to kill him. I gotta kill him. And also, Hannah and Deb, he also killed Zach Hamilton. Dexter finds Zach Hamilton's dead body and his brain being drilled into, and they basically did nothing with that character. He only lasted, like, what, 3 episodes? So, yeah. He lasted 3 episodes, guys. Lasted 3 episodes. And he lasted 3 episodes. So Dexter is like, hey, Hannah, let's get away from all this. Let's get away from Miami. Get away from Miami. Get away from the FBI. Let's move to Argentina. Because there would be no one there. There would be no one there. So, he basically, Dexter decides to, Dexter reveals he actually likes these people and, cares about them. But first off, in the first season, Dexter was like, no, he doesn't really care about these people and all his social interactions were fake. But by the end of season 8, Dexter really enjoys and loves these people that he grew to know for 8 seasons. He may have faked loving them. So Dexter decides he almost tries to kill Saxon, but then he lets him go, letting Deb catch him, but then the FBI guy that Elway hired to go after Hannah lets him go. Deb decides to, the FBI guy, the FBI marshal, lets a killer go. So Dexter runs up to Evelyn Vogel's house because Evelyn Vogel thinks that her son can be, and he kills Evelyn Vogel because, he's like, Dexter, Mom chose the wrong son again, and kills him. So then back with the other stuff that's happening. So Dexter decided to leave Harrison and Hannah because he wanted to go to see Deb in the hospital. I'm going to mention this again, and decided because the doctor was like, oh yeah, Deb basically has a big cloud in her brain, which basically means that she won't be able to think, she won't be able to hear, and she'll have to eat out of a tube. So Dexter's basically like, that is a fate far worse than death. So he basically turns off all Deb's life support, basically just killing, as Deb's dying, he says, I love you, Deb, and throws Deb into the ocean with the rest of his burial. Basically, the actress didn't like this because he felt like Dexter was basically throwing her away, like what the other people didn't care about more. So Dexter decides to call Hannah and Harrison and say he's gonna be there in Argentina, but really he's heading into the storm of Hurricane Laura, and then people find his boat with it destroyed, and then we see Hannah and Harrison in Argentina, where Hannah cries that her boyfriend is supposedly dead. But then we see in a sort of epilogue scene, we see Dexter living a new life, and he just goes into his empty house, looks at the camera, and that's the end of Dexter season 8. The ending just didn't make any sense to me. I did like the ending because, I gotta say it, Deb is one of my favorite characters, and they did her injustice by killing her off. I guess it felt like Laurel from Arrow. Basically, it felt like Laurel over again, where they basically didn't care about the character that you love, and basically just killed her off because they could. Jamie was annoying. I didn't like Jamie at all in this season. I felt like she was kind of annoying. They kind of didn't do with her at the end. She basically just said, "Oh, Harrison, how's your trip that I thought you go on, but you never went to?" And then then that's the end of Jamie. Like, she didn't get a justified ending. Like, I guess she didn't get a justified beginning, but her ending wasn't justified. She was just like, "Hey, Harrison, how was the trip? We all know that you didn't go on." And that's the end of Jamie. Like, what? That's you do with your 3-season-long character? You say her last line is, "Hey, Harrison, how was their trip?" And Deb was basically went from working to LA to basically LA didn't like it that Deb was basically, Deb was going back to working for the police department. So, and he would also have so he kept trying to, he basically was to threaten Dexter and Hannah, and he was like, "Hey, Hannah, turn yourself in, and Dexter will be for questioning, and Hannah will questioning, and we'll send Harrison to Child Protective Services." But then she just pulls the trick from Dexter and basically just tranquilizes him, and basically he'll wake up without knowing what's going on. Pulling a Dexter trick, Hannah, that's really good. And yeah. And the whole Evelyn Vogel thing at the end kind of became, she's now cares about her son. She's like, "Oh, Dexter, don't send him to an institution." And Dexter does kill him, by the way, with a pen. And then Angel's like, "Hey, Dexter, what are we gonna... Dexter, you don't even work here anymore. What are we gonna do about this? Tell people, Angel? Like, just because Dexter doesn't work here, you could just say Dexter stayed in self-defense. What do you mean you're not gonna tell... How are you gonna tell people? You're obviously gonna tell a person, aren't you? Aren't you? I didn't get that line. Like, he could... How are we gonna explain... How are we gonna say this, Dexter? Just say it, Angel. And, yeah. And the whole him doing it in front of an Angel and Quinn basically doing nothing was kind of pretty pointless. And there's also the thing of, hallucinogen. I like the scene where Dexter basically, as he's leaving Argentina, he basically realizes that he doesn't need hallucinogenic Harry anymore, his conscience, so he just leaves. And that was a perfect way to say Dexter does not need his conscience anymore. And also there was that good. Also, there were some. I didn't like. Oliver Saxon was like after we found out that he did it because they first blamed it on Zach Hamilton, but then when Zach Hamilton revealed that he basically just cleared a guy, he's killed a guy that he was abusing women. It just was like, okay, and then they just killed him at the end, like. And accordingly, Hannah's still married to that guy that the abuser who she had to kill. She's still married to him. So her still being Dexter is kind of cheating on that man, even though he was abusive. She's still cheating on him with Dexter. She's still married to him, by the way. Just because he's dead doesn't mean, unless she gets a divorce, she's a free woman. But still, I'm just saying, it's just like, I thought the season was pretty good. It wasn't the final season of Dexter. They kind of went downward. It felt like it was going up. And Masuka's daughter, she did not get an ending too. She was just in some episodes, and then at the end of it, she's just gone. Like, we see Masuka, but we don't see her. We don't see his daughter. Yeah, and Angel and Joey's breakup was because of how he wasn't over Deb, and she was just basically mad at Deb. And he and Joey got together. And as soon as Joey and her got together, she dies. Like, as soon as Deb and Joey got together, they kill off Deb. Like, what's wrong with you, writers? Like, you made us sit and wait for when Joey and Deb get together, and when they finally do, you have Dexter kill her? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, we waited a long time for those two to get together. But as soon as they did, you decided to kill Deb off? What is wrong with the writers of this show? They didn't think this well properly. They should have killed Deb they should have let Joey... I get it, why they killed Deb was because if she wouldn't have died, she wouldn't have had, a lot of issues. She would have had to eat... She would have had to eat food through a tube. She wouldn't even know Dexter and Joey were there. And and she was brain dead. So that's the ending of Dexter season. That was the ending of the original Dexter. I felt like it came to a great high and just kept staring and staring and staring because bam, bam, bam. Because guess what? The villains of the show went from great to yeah. It started great with the Ice Truck Killer, then with Lila, then with Miguel, then the best with the Ice Truck Killer, and then it just kept going down with villains like the Barrel Girl Gang and the Trinity Killer, the Barrel Girl Gang, the Doomsday Killer. Who's that? The Doomsday Killer. Huerta kind of, but Huerta kind of. Who's it? Then we have the Koshka Brotherhood. Then we have the Huerta, and then finally we have Elway and we have the brain surgeon and Elway. Dexter started on great. It started great, and then just kept boom, because it just kept getting worse and better, and then worse again. Like it just kept going. It felt like the show was at its peak back in season 1. Dexter had so many Here's a running joke with Dexter. Dexter loves his blonde because first it was Rita, then it was Lumen, and now it's Hannah McKay. So basically, Dexter cannot help his attraction to blonde women. Because every time a blonde woman comes onto the show, he cannot help but fall in love with them. Like, at least season 3 and 4 didn't have season 6. Season 3. Season 3 didn't. Season 5. Season 6 didn't have didn't have a villain. Didn't have like a blonde love interest for Dexter until season 7 came. Season 7 to 8 came with Hannah McKay. But it was first Rita, then Rita from seasons 1 to 4, then to Lumen from season 5, then to Hannah McKay from seasons 7 to 8. Like, why did Rita get... Rita got 4 seasons, Lumen got 1, and Hannah got 2. Rita is the best character because she got more seasons than the 2 other Dexter's love interests. Rita gets married to Dexter and then dies. Lumen falls in love with Dexter but then decides to leave him because she doesn't feel her dark revenge passion anymore. Lumen is a passionate poisoner who falls in love with Dexter until he decides to, we'll talk about who Dexter goes out with when we get to New Blood, because next Dexter recap, we'll be taking I don't know why, but Dexter's New Blood takes place 10 years after this show. So, yeah. Let's see what our boy Dexter gets up next in New Blood. But anyway, I'll see you next time for some more Dexter. Remember to say recap happy, and I'll see you next time for more Dexter. See you next time, guys. Hopefully this season kind of made this season made fans happy. This season is divisive, I gotta say. Next I'll be creating the hour-long Dexter Talkathon, where I create every Dexter season 1 through 8 in recap form for you guys. Now that we're done with Dexter season 8. But anyway, that's it for this video. Stay recap happy, and I'll see you next time for some more Dexter.